And the instruction would be, hey, don't drink that alcohol. But then you might catch me privately in my life. Not me personally, I don't drink. But a person can handle wine and have a drink of wine, and it's not a sin to them, and they're not getting drunk, and therefore they're doing the very thing they tell somebody not to do. Well, that's the principle here. God cannot do anything wrong, because even if God tells me not to do it, and if I do it, it's a sin, God's exempt from that. God's exempt from that. It's one of the benefits of being God. And atheists hate that. They hate that. They want to blame God and pick on God and accuse God and you name it. Hey, John, good to see you, man. Hey, both of you. John, the rotten one repents, and old man John, good to see both of you. Yeah, the devil definitely entered into him. And that would be something that God absolutely sends or predestined or planned. And we see God sending evil spirits into people's lives all the time. Lying spirits to King Ahab, evil spirits to King Saul. God's the father of spirits. And we have another thing here. You know, God is the father of all spirits, good and bad spirits. And a lot of people don't know what that means, or they may hear me say something that I'm not saying. I'm saying God created all spirits. And I'm saying there's not a spirit alive that God didn't create or has a plan or purpose for. And that would include all the wicked spirits and Satan and all the rebellious angels and everything. God's got it all in his hand. He is the father of all spirits. And I don't know why I don't have that in here. It's not necessary for this particular notebook, but it would be a good place to add it. And I might get to that at some point. What we're talking about today, we're trying to look at how God used Samson's lust for other women. And the command in the law from Moses was do not marry other women. It was against the law. And so Samson had this desire for other women, and it says in the scripture, let's just look at what it says about that. Let's go back to the other notebook. Open up Samson and go right to Judges 14, 1-4. And let's take a look at that real quick, what happened with that particular incident. And Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came and told his father and mother, I've seen a woman in Timnah, a daughter of Philistines. Now, therefore, go get her so she could be my wife. In other words, he wanted to sleep with her, because that's what being a wife was back then. You have sex with somebody, you're getting married to that girl. I mean, that's, because this woman still lived with her family in the Philistines. She didn't come over and live in Israel, but she was considered his wife. And that's what the scripture says. And you can read the whole passage, read those 3 chapters, you'll see that. Okay, so he wanted her for his wife. He wanted to connect with her so he could have sex with her. And that's what was on his mind. Then this father and mother said to him, are there no daughters, in our people, among our brother, that you have to go looking for this uncircumcised Philistine? And Samson said to his father, get her for me. She pleases me well. Please look at this one verse right here, even if you're in the middle of chatting. Take the time to look at this. That he sought occasion against the Philistines. Because the Philistines were ruling over Israel, God wanted to use Samson's desire for these foreign women, and it was something God wanted to use. He wanted to use that. He wanted to use Samson's lust for a reason. Did you get that? Did you guys understand that? Hey, Deb Angel, good to see you. What are we pointing out? We're pointing out the idea or the reality that God can use a man's weakness and sins for his purpose. Let's just let that sink in for a second and think about all the times God has turned your situation around or can possibly turn your situation around even now. He hasn't done it yet, but it's possible he could take your situation and use it for his purpose. So I find that absolutely amazing, and I like to discover things like this.